my hair combed?
Yes, sir. Good evening, y'all. Welcome to YouTube Model Builders Live for Saturday, December 19th, 2015. Tonight we have our guest, Dude Lindler, and special guest, Bill Beranek and Miles Hale. We're going to take a little bit of a break from our hectic shopping schedule, sit back and catch up on some modeling tips. And we'll also be talking about what's going on in the last year with YouTube model builders, with everything, the Hangouts, email, etc., and what's coming up for next year. And tonight our host is Johnny Reb. Bill's at a Christmas function with his wife, so Johnny's filling in his stead. And I'm your technical director, Barry Rosier, and everybody else is here, so take it over to Johnny.
Thank you, Barry. Well, first off, we want to, since this is the last show of the year, we'd like to say thank you to Mauler Man Mike for creating the YouTube Model Builders community, Railroaders community, and his vision. Hopefully, all of us on the team has continued what he wanted to do. He wanted to have a community for people to be able to share their tips, techniques, ideas, ask questions, and for it to mainly be totally free. I think we've all have done a very good job of trying to continue that. We've brought in some newer features to it also that Mike had talked about before he had to drop out. Hopefully he'll be back sometime next year. I understand his son is on a good recovery road, so he should be doing well later on. First off, I want to say thank you to our past guests that we've had on shows too here. Just to name a few, we've had Southern 8099, Steve. We've had Ron Perry, Steve Atwell, and I'm sorry if the list is very long, so I can't really go through the whole thing, or we'll be here for a couple of hours. But everyone that has been on the show has always brought something good to the show, and we do appreciate that. Either they're bringing some good modeling tips, good humor, whatever it may be. Been helping out, solving problems. Some of the two of the biggest things we've done in this year has been the Big Bill contest. That turned out to be a good event for us. And we also, Dude has brought in the JMRI Hangouts. This year he's been doing the basics for JMRI. And that just shows too, because that came about because we had a couple of people asking, for something on JMRI because they couldn't find that much on it in the YouTube channels. So we've tried to do the best we can on that. Dude's been doing a great job with the JMRI, and he's got a good year planned too. And I'll let him talk about that in just a little bit. And want to say thank you very much to our sponsors. Without them, it's been hard to put on a live show. They've helped us keep it going. And I think, Barry, you want to go ahead and we do the sponsors too?
For our sponsors.
I think if you don't mind, while we do each one, we'll just give them a good thank you for each one.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, tonight's first sponsor is Precision Design Company. They've been with us for a long time now. I'd like to thank Bill Beranek and for all his support and help. Tonight's giveaway is his famous joint bars in both HO and N scale. He's been a great supporter of the show and produces some wonderful products. So everybody, make sure you go check out his website at www.pdc.ca. A long-time supporter of us, so we should go and support him as well. And we have our next supporter here is our buddy John Bob Lacey rather, from Long Shadow Model Trees. He's been giving us great handmade trees all year, and now he's started to produce new tree armatures for people who want to make their own. So tonight's giveaway is a 10-pack of either pine or deciduous tree armatures that he's giving away. And Bob would really want to thank you for all the support and the wonderful products you produce for the hobby and distribute through our show here monthly. And it's great working with you, and I look forward to next year. And then we have Dave's Decals, model decals and stuff. Dave's been another long-time supporter of our show. You get your choice tonight of 2 sheets of his decals. And go to www.davart.net. We'd like to really thank Dave for all his support and the wonderful decals that he produces. They look great on some of the guys' buildings I've seen them on and some of the buildings he's built. So we really look forward to working with him on next year's shows. And here we go, our friend John Howard, his famous road striping kits from Highways and Byways. We've all seen these on Gino's layout, and they look fantastic. So tonight you'll be getting a package of vinyl stripes to use on your model railroad from highwaysandbyways.com. John's been a great supporter of the show, and we really would like to thank him for everything he's done and for producing such a great product. And so we look forward to seeing more interesting stuff from him coming in the next year. And again, our friends at Central Valley Model Works Incorporated have been providing us with the 150-foot punch plate bridge kit all year. It's been a popular giveaway, and it's available in HL or N scale. And you can go to www.cvmw.com and get all the details on it. And we'd like to thank the owners of the Central Valley Model Works for supporting us all year long and giving us such a fantastic product to give away, and continue working with them as well. So that's our sponsors for this year and this show. So I want to thank each and every one of them again for all the great products they provide for our community and for us to give to the community. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I know personally that there's been a number of our viewers that have ordered more products from each one of those guys. They really like their stuff. Works well. I know on the Dave's decals, I keep looking at his and I go, I don't know. If I order everything I won't be able to eat for about 2 months. I'll probably order just about his whole stock,
Yeah, I would love. I have to get some of them. But I also would love to get some of John's trees. Once I get a piece of the layout where I can put trees on it, I'll start ordering them. I did get some of his tree armatures to play with.
Yeah.
So they're really nice, and they're not badly priced either. So I think if you like making your own trees, check out his armatures. It might save you some time there.
Yeah. How you doing, JD?
All right, how you doing, Johnny?
All right, JD.
Glad to see you could come in here. I'm going to put you on the spot in a minute.
Of course.
Just because you haven't been in Hangouts for a while. In fact, I think I'll just go ahead and put you on the spot right now. One of the big things that we have been doing here in the community, and I want to thank JD and his crew, JD especially. I mean, he puts a lot of work into the e-magazine. He takes great pride in that, and he ought to. Okay, he produces a good product there. I like the fact that he spends time to make sure that everybody that's in the magazine gets equal highlights there and their share of the magazine. And JD has brought a lot to us here this year in 2015. He had a great special issue on special needs people in the hobby. That was a good issue too right there. And I want to let JD talk a little bit about what he might have planned for 2016 maybe. JD.
Thank you, Johnny. 2015 was a great year for the EMAG. I think from its inception in January to a lot of people were involved. I mean, you guys were involved. and make a lot of decision making and coming up with the idea and making it happen. And a lot of support from the community, a lot of good comments, feedback on the EMAG for the year. And upcoming in next year, we're going to start, even expanding further. We have some ideas that I don't want to give away everything, but January we're looking to do a track planning special with full layout of track plans from the community. So we're looking for any kind of track plans that you guys want to submit by the end of the year. So another couple of weeks to go for that. We're looking at additional columns that we're working on, so repeat columns from others within the community. And so a lot more to come, That's in the planning stages. And, we welcome any kind of feedback. So that's what we're also looking for in order to make sure that the magazine's meeting the needs of the community. And it's your magazine. It's the community's magazine. That's how it's driven.
One thing to mention too, JD, is everybody can go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com and click on the section on the right where the EMAG is, and you can subscribe, and that way you'll get the EMAG notification sent right to you when the time is due for it to be sent out. And we're going to be using that same mechanism for more notifications about the YouTube Model Builders community at large coming up next year. So if you subscribe, we'll get all kinds of information out to you.
In fact, that subscription is very powerful because it gives you access to notifications for everything that's happening, not just the EMAG alone.
Yep.
I mean, the subscription is delivered right to your inbox. With one click, you can download or view the magazine, but you also get other items delivered to you, other notifications as well. And it's a good way to be in the know what's going on.
That's right. Right now, we're close to 800 subscribers. So
That's
eventually,
true.
we would like to also start posting like monthly links for the shows and everything through there as well, so they get sent out ahead of time to people, so they have the links to come watch the show. So we're looking to make more enhanced use of it next year. So go subscribe, folks.
Yeah, I'm jealous. The EMAG's got more subscribers than the community does. Community's got about 760.
Yeah, you're about right. Yeah, we're kind of neck and neck there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something. Get some girls out there on the corner with sandwich boards. But well, 2016 is definitely going to be a year of interest. I mean, we've got a few things in the planning stage. One that I was told I could go ahead and kind of let the cat out of the bag on right now is we are looking at doing a merit certification program that is going to be loosely based on like the National Mall Railroad Association's AP program, their merit program there. It's going to be something like that, but it's basically just for the community here, for everybody to join in. And I would like to say right now that we as individuals are our worst critics. So this is not a contest. This is something for you to enter into to help see what other people think about it, get tips on how to improve your techniques, your building skills. So don't be afraid to get into it. It is a good thing to do. Also, I do know that we have had just one conversation. There's going to be numerous more conversations, but we've been approached by someone in a different part of the world, in another country, talking about maybe doing a show from that country there and bringing it into the community. So we're talking with them about that. We're going to be working with them closely next year, see about bringing that about. So you'll get a little more variety, not just us sitting here, but you'll be able to see it from other countries, hopefully. So maybe we can get this thing international.
That would be. I just I read all about that recently, Johnny. That should be very interesting if that comes about.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually,
good group of modelers over there.
Yeah, actually, it's Australia. I'll go ahead and let that part out. Our good mates down under. I noticed Ron is in the Q&A, so he's from Australia there, so that's what we're talking about right now. We're looking to work, see how we could get that to work out. So that ought to be interesting too, because yeah, like you said, Barry, there are some really good maulers down there. In fact, Ron's one of them.
Yes, sir.
I tell you, what he does with lights and vehicles.
That's something me and Mike should have him on the tech show.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be a good thing.
I mean, he can work his magic. I mean, he does a great job. All right, dude, you still with us?
I'm here.
All right, well, let's. I'll go ahead and let dude talk about the JMRI programs.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about just the schedule for next year.
Okay.
We're going to change up the schedule a little bit next year. We're only going to go every 2 weeks, so there's going to be a break in between each Tuesday. So there will be some week, or there will be some months that there will be 3 presentations, but most of them will only be 2. So basically 2 every month. I sat down with Bill and Miles. They're going to discuss about theirs, but got them all scheduled out, both of them, on the days that they wanted to be on, and it worked good for them. And I'm hoping to get this schedule all on the website by the first of the year, so that everybody can start checking out looking at the schedule to see what's coming up. On the off days of, so basically with Bill and Miles, they're going to split the year up. So one of them's going to do 6 months and the other one's going to do 6 months. And so they'll offset so that it'll make it a lot easier. So that took up at least half of the schedule. And then the new JMRI will take up the other half. And then the floaters that are in there, we're going to put other odd and end presentations in those floaters. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. So those will be presentations that we'll bring in a guest to present something. I've got a couple things up my sleeve for those. The JMRI will be more advanced from our offset of basically the last 4 or 5 months. All the JMRI have been just introductory basic stuff to get everybody how to hook it up, to get it started and get rolling. Once they, all the ones that have watched the presentations up until now should have a pretty good idea on how the JMRI, to get it fired up and a lot of the functions. Now, next year, we're going to go in a little bit more in depth in, signal control, block control. Barry's going to be in there. I've got a pretty good group of guys that know JMRI real well. With all their heads, we put them all together, and we come out with a pretty good presentation for everybody.
And if one of us doesn't know something, we'll find out who does.
What's that, Barry?
And if one of us doesn't know, we'll find out who does and get them in there.
Okay.
Hopefully, with all this JMRI stuff, it'll be less aspirin we have to take when we're trying to set it up.
Yeah, true. But everybody stay tuned for next year's schedule. It should be a pretty doozy one, especially with the live shows too. So it should be pretty good.
That sounds good to me. So you just going to go every other week then on the presentations then?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sounds good. So Thursday night still every week, or?
Yeah, Thursday, since it's still just a general, you don't have to worry about certain presentation or a topic or anything like that.
Yeah, just redhead stepchild.
You more like rock steady, Johnny.
Johnny is the hangout king. I'll tell you. Yeah, he's a diehard.
Yeah, everybody loves your hangouts, Johnny. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
no messing with a good thing there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Well, the JMRI thing all came about because that's a definite community interest. I mean, there's always bits and pieces of this or that, but like Dude said, there's nothing comprehensive. There's no, I can watch these videos and learn everything I wanted to know. So that's what we're trying to come up with, And any feedback on things you guys want to see for next year, definitely let, Dude or myself or one of the other guys know. And we'll try and work it into the schedule somewhere because we're doing this for the community based on what the community wanted us to do. So, any input you guys have on all of this, the live show, hangouts, EMAG, whatever. If you want to write an article for the EMAG, JD's your man. He will get that in there and make it look spit perfect and polished like you're a Pulitzer Prize winning author. So don't be afraid to try and write something.
And Barry, and you've written articles for the EMAG, and you and I have worked closely together, and others have worked closely together. We work hand in hand to make sure that what your topic is gets the best light possible. What your story is, what you want to convey, is the best possibly presented in the EMAG, without losing its content, without losing its meaning. So if you don't think you're a writer, don't worry about that. And the point is, just write something and we'll help make it look really nice and professional. We'll work hand in hand with you to make it happen.
I can test that. I'm not much of a writer, but JD brings out the things in people and things that you want in the article and makes it look good. Him and his whole team of editors are really good at that. So.
Yeah, and I do want to, mention the other guys on the EMAG team. Blaine Mayfield, Jack Hickway out in Canada, and then Harry Haythorne. All these guys work very hard behind the scenes too. So I do want to pass on the kudos to them as well. They get it done so I can assemble the magazine together. So, without them, there wouldn't be part of the EMAG either.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good people to work with. I've worked with Jack before. They all do a great job. I also want to say thank you to Harry's wife, too. I understand one time in this year we had a little snafu on some graphics, and she jumped in right at the very last minute and pulled it off, and nobody knew that there was a problem.
Yep.
So actually, it wasn't a snafu. What it was we wanted to come up with something nicer, and she offered an idea, and it was a great idea. It was a simple idea. In fact, it's the July issue. She helped put the cover together. Yeah. So we went from something complex to something very simple because of her help. And it was, very quick turnaround on her part. So, yeah, definitely thank you to her, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to have somebody else that you got to fall back on.
Yeah, so very nice of her.
Yeah, okay, y'all just experienced a senior moment on my part.
I've got a question for Barry, Johnny. You guys talking about the JMRI, and I believe it's an end-to-end from beginning to the more detailed side of JMRI, right? Am I right about that, Barry?
Yeah, that's what Dude has been planning, is that we're trying to cover as much as humanly possible about it. We've got the basics down now of what it is, how to use the basic part of how to program decoders, how to hook up to your DCC system. We've covered a little bit of Panel Pro. But now we get into the deep dive topics and the explicit details of what do you need to do to use Panel Pro and get that all fleshed out. And then we get into more complex topics like signaling and eventually operations, which there I think is our weak point. And then we'll be reaching out to try and find people to understand it we're getting to know more about it ourselves. A little bit with signaling, but there's resources we can reach out to for signaling. So we'll work on that along the way.
Well, one thing I like, and I've heard other people talk about too, is just the fact that how Dude has gotten it to where they're actually doing hands-on that we can watch
Yes.
and see. Doing a lot of screen shares on actual different pages and how to get the settings done right. And that's one big advantage right there that Dude's brought into it. So
Yes,
yeah.
and the last one we did on just basic introduction to Panel Pro, we talked about how to set up the turnouts in JMRI, how to control them from a layout panel and the CTC panel, and then Chris showed how to set up a basic layout panel, how to enter the turnouts into the table. So it was a lot of hands-on stuff that really shows people what we're talking about. So that's an absolutely perfect point, Johnny.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say right now, I didn't mention it at the beginning of the show, but this show here may not run quite as long as most of the shows do, because we just wanted to do a lot of thank yous to the people who contributed and helped us out through the year of 2015, and to give people an insight into what 2016 has got coming for us. So I think, Barry, if you want to, you think right now would be a good time to go ahead and activate the sign-in page for the giveaways?
Yeah, let me get that set up while you go on. I'll have that ready in a moment, and then we can give that information out.
Oh, great. Now I got to do a table dance, huh?
Oh, go over stuff with Bill and Miles. So
yeah, Bill and Miles are here tonight with us, too, so we're definitely going to be talking to them after Barry gets all this set up about what they'll be doing in their hangouts, because both of them are going to be doing some really interesting hangouts there. Bill, I will tell you that you will be getting some email from me or mail or something. I've got your paperwork back here somewhere so I could get you some dimensions. Yeah,
go on the website and answer the questions. That's the key.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get that done up, get you some dimensions. I can tell you right now I'm not in a big hurry, so yeah, if you have more pressing work, go ahead and get that done. Because
whenever you're ready, I'm here.
Yeah. I mean,
Mike has more pressing work, Johnny. He writes a column for the EMAG, so he does a great job at the column. So he definitely has some more pressing work.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if you want to take a break from the EMAG column, yeah, you can. Yeah, maybe slip a few minutes in.
No, I live for the next column. You know that, right? I think there's a lot of people that read that, and we live for it. So we're always thankful for the piece of the puzzle. Track planning. Yeah. So I look forward to it all the time. So you cannot tell him not to work on that.
Yeah. I should probably get started, shouldn't I?
Give it another week or two. Give it a couple more weeks. Yeah.
That's another pro. He knows that you can get it out there. No worries. So I
got the page all active here, guys, for the giveaways tonight. So just go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com, and top click where it says YouTube Model Builders Live, and at the very bottom you will see Live Show Giveaway Entry Form. Go in there and fill out your information, and the password for tonight, all lowercase as usual, is the word signal, SIGNAL. So I'll repeat that again a little bit later on, but just go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com, to YouTube Model Builders Live, drop down and pick the live show giveaway entry form and put in your information, the password signal. And then later on we'll be picking our winner. So
there's a drumbeat.
There's Smile over there giving the interpretation of what signal does.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Well, next up is Miles and Mr. Bill here. They're going to talk a little bit about what they're going to be doing with us next year. And I tell you what, I think, Bill, you're doing a show in January, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I've got the first show on the 5th. I'm going to
All
do.
right. Well, I tell you what, I'll just let you go first. You're
Okay.
just first all the way around.
Well, I noticed I got top billing over Miles tonight. I was going to mention that to him. So just so you knew. Um, I thought about this, and originally I thought, let's see if we can get enough questions to come in that I can answer questions. Excuse me, to help people with their track planning. Then I thought about it a little bit, and I thought maybe I would like to take maybe the first 15 minutes of the show, 20 minutes of the show, talk about some specifics, mainly dealing with operations, because track planning and operations, at least for me, go hand in hand. That's why I designed those track plans, to make them operate. I don't see enough talk about the simple things in operations on the YouTube community. This JMR thing, I think this is great. I think it's a good segue for me to talk about track planning and operations. So for the January show, what I've got, and this all came up just in the last week, I designed a track plan for a logging track plan for a customer client. And I sent him the operations report on how the layout should operate. And he contacted me back and says, well, why are you making this jumping through all these hoops to get the logs from the logging camp to the sawmill? He says, all I got to do is take the logs from the sawmill, from the logging camp over to the sawmill. That's all we have to do. Well, he was right, but I came up with a way based on the operations that I do with many layouts out here where I live, where instead of using one train, we used 4 trains to get the logs to the sawmill, and this whole layout is less than 150 square feet. And the logging camp and the sawmill are physically about 6 feet apart, but I used 4 trains to get those logs from the camp to the sawmill in a much more prototypical manner. So I would like to, if everything works out, it's only, I've got a PowerPoint presentation put together, only about half a dozen slides, which shows what the average person that's not into operation would do, and then show people the way I think it should be done. And then I think the rest of the show, hopefully that'll generate enough conversation. The rest of the show can be a Q&A, if we can do. So I plan on doing that every show, talk about some part of it. Another example, I know I've already got planned for a show when you guys did the operations with JMR the other night, and he did just a heck of a job with that doing that operations on the Thursday night, or to whatever show it was. I don't personally use that. I use car cards and the way bills, and I think I can give another version of what to use for operations. So I can do a pretty good program on way bills and car cards, also involved with all revolving around the track planning side of it. So every show I'm going to try to do something a little bit different. Part of the show discussing a specific item, rest of the show just trying to answer questions.
Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a little different than some of the other shows we do.
I'll definitely be watching for sure. So.
Also, if everybody wants to know, this is the first time Johnny and I have ever been on together, so I think I kind of take it as an honor.
Oh, no, I'm honored to be with you, Bill. Always honored when I get around Miles too.
Yeah, I just like that top billing.
Even though he keeps threatening to send me wax on top of my head for fly ski soap.
You're gonna get the shine going, Johnny.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that Miles is here too, because I do the design, but Miles has actually designed and built what he's designed. I just design. He has a different perspective than I do a lot of times.
Well, that's what makes it good.
You bet.
Yeah.
You guys are like the dynamic duo of model railroading here.
We hope not.
But who gets to wear the red and green tights?
Yeah, he looks good tonight, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, Miles, I know you've got a good schedule planned out.
Well, I'd like to think so.
Well, it sounded good to me.
Well, let me show everybody what we're going to start off with first. I think we really need to understand the mathematics of model railroading. And so the first thing I want to do is go into all the mathematical calculations required to build an HON3 narrow gauge turnout, starting at the points and working through the frog.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not a mathematician. I'm a PE major. I always fall back on the fact that I was trained as a PE major, so anytime anybody asks me a technical question, I can go back to why is there air? You know, there's air to blow up basketballs and footballs. At any rate, I wanted to bring something really new to the YouTube Model Builder show, and I wanted to do exactly, and this is going to dovetail right into what Johnny was talking about with going to another country. I want to go around the United States a little bit and show some of the model railroads and some of the people that are building those railroads, talk to them during the show, and find out what they see as their vision for their railroad. It ties in a little bit with what Bill's doing, because he's taking the vision that that particular person has in his forms that he sends out, which is very similar to the forms I used to send out. You try and get in the guy's head a little bit and find out what he wants to do with his railroad. That's what I want to present as a part of the show, is what did this guy want when he started to build the railroad, and how's that working out for you? And we'll show some of the scenery and some of the things that are going on. And I want to start off, first of all, with a combination O and ON3 railroad. I don't go very far the first time. I'm just going across town here in Kansas City. But I'm going to go to Larry Alfred's. He's another master model railroader here in Kansas City. And he's working rapidly and feverishly to be ready by February the 9th, with this one he'll be on. And I think he has kind of an unusual and unique approach to model railroading and how he's going to present his railroad. And I think some people may be really interested in that, because he's kind of intertwining the O and the ON3, but you never see one when you see the other. You'll understand when we get there. Then on April 26th, I have a real treat for everybody. Steve Priest. Those of you that don't recognize the name, you certainly recognize his publications. He is the editor or whatever for a lot of the magazines that come out from White River Productions. And they just bought RMC, Railroad Model Craftsman. He is the editor there now. His wife, Cynthia Priest, is the editor of the NMRA magazine. And they put out about 6 historical magazines out of their offices there in their home. And he has a humongous railroad, covers about 3,000 square feet. And he's working feverishly to get a bunch of that ready by April the 26th. So then I leave, I go out of town for a little bit. We're going to go all the way down to San Antonio, Texas. And we're going to visit the San Antonio Model Railroad Club on June the 28th. And that should be a fantastic railroad to look at. They're in, again, a very large building, standalone, that they own. They bought the property, put up the building, and they are trying to model the railroads that ran through San Antonio, Texas, back in the 50s and 60s. So it should be a great model railroad to go look at. They've got about 50 or 60 members, and they've been at it now for about 30 years. So the railroad is well along. Excuse me. August the 9th, I'm going to travel back over to my other old hometown, Louisville, Kentucky, and we'll go and see Russ Weiss. Again, a master model railroader. He is building a little bit of the western type of scenery. I feel really guilty because he started off modeling New York City. All you guys in the YouTube model builders are back east and say, oh, wow, yeah, really neat. Because it really was. He was taking castings from Magnuson and DPM and whatever and building HO buildings that were 2.5, 3 feet tall. He was doing the same thing in HO that I'm in there doing in ON30. He was building huge buildings so that the buildings would dwarf the trains. And he came over to my house while I lived there in Louisville and got kind of hooked, I guess, on Colorado. And when he moved out here about 3 years ago, bought a new house, he abandoned the big city, and now he's doing Colorado. And I moved out, moved back to Kansas City, and abandoned Colorado, and I'm doing the big city. So go figure. But at any rate, it'll be a neat trip to go to Russ's. He's a great model railroader, fantastic model builder, and I've seen pictures. He's doing a great job with his railroad. Then in October the 11th, we'll return back to Kansas City to Steve McKee. Steve is doing an ON3 railroad, And I think it's probably the best plan that's ever been designed. I happen to know the model railroader who designed his railroad personally. Yeah, that's as far as we'll take that. Okay, so anyway, yes, I did design his railroad. And it's in a very large space, about 3,000 square feet. It's Rio Grande Southern. And he has done 100% of the Joel Bragdon geodesic foam scenery. And he's done an absolutely fantastic job with it. I think you'll really be fascinated with it. And again, he has a really unique approach to how he builds a railroad. And I think it'll be kind of interesting to go through some of the things that he's doing now to bring that railroad to fruition and to completion. And he is very close already. By the time we give him another 8 months or 9 months, 10 months, whatever it is from here, he'll be very, very close to being complete. And on December 27th, I kind of stole the show for me. You're going to come in and I'll show you, I hope, what I've had time to do here in my own railroad with the ON30 and trying to make it look like a big city. So at any rate, we've tried to travel around the country a little bit. We've tried to take a look at some different railroads and some different sizes and scales and gauges and just kind of get a general feel for what guys do when they're building railroads. Some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, and we'll talk maybe a little bit about the fact that I felt like I bit off much more than I could chew, and sometimes you're better off with a smaller railroad, and things that we think that we can accomplish. But we'll have all kinds of things to discuss as we travel around and talk to these various model railroaders.
Sounds like it's going to be a good show there.
We hope so.
Well, 2016 is definitely going to be good since we got both you and Bill here.
I don't know about us,
but
I think the other railroaders will make it pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, we're going to have a good time this year. Yeah, we do appreciate you and Bill both coming in, y'all on the team here, and participating and giving us your experience and knowledge. Yeah, because I know people like me certainly need it. Yeah.
I tried not to give you anything at all. I'm going to talk to everybody else to let them take it over.
Yeah. Barry, Mark Turner's got something. I think Dude, that'll be for Dude. If you want to set up.
I'll set up to the top there. So, since y'all mentioned JMRI, with that being said, is there a certain number or amount of motive power that you recommend that you have to use JMRI?
Yeah, that'd be a good one for Dude.
Yeah, why don't you give that a shot, Dude? I mean, what do you think?
I don't think so.
I don't either, personally. I mean, because think about it. If you, at its very basic, you use JMRI for its Decoder Pro module to program your engines. If it makes it easier to program one engine, it's worth it because it's free. The only thing you would have to buy would be a piece of hardware to talk to your DCC system, but that's it. Then you're done. You know, and then you can use it for 1 or 1,000 locomotives. So, to make it easier to program, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any minimum number of engines you have to have.
No, because you got routing, you got switch cards you can do with all that.
All kinds of stuff. I mean, the benefits of using it are far beyond just programming your locomotives.
In fact, the last JMRI show, Chris Feely was showing all the different pages there in the operations, and the one page that he leaves blank is the one on the locomotive roster. He doesn't even list any locomotives, but he still uses JMRI to build his trains.
Oh, okay.
You know, he's just got his rolling stock listed in there, so.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it that way, yeah.
Athearn and Broadway Limited and all those people, they just love you if you'd add about 500 engines apiece from them.
Absolutely.
Business.
Oh, yeah, yeah. As long as you leave at least 1 or 2 engines out and call Bill.
Yeah.
Let him plan the layout.
That's my biggest problem, is trying to convince people not to just not buy one engine and let me design a track plan for them. I can go if I could. I used to be a salesman all my life for 40 years, but that seems to be the hardest sell I have now, is saying, just back off of one engine and talk to me, and I think in the long run you'll be way ahead. But It's a problem. It always has.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I have got a good challenge for you. Little,
Ah.
Miss, little Mr. Donnie.
Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, God love the boy. Great.
I
Great
am
guy.
going to introduce you to and see if you can talk him because that fella is engine poor. I mean, he likes almost any and everything he sees. I would like to see somebody talk him out of not buying one engine,
It says
getting
Santa Fe on it?
back done. Yeah.
Well, I do for the club I belong to where I live here, which we've got a 130 member club. I along with I just turned over the treasury's job after 4 years, but I'm in charge of all the estate sales for our club because we've got a lot of older members that pass away and other ones I do it for. And the hardest thing to explain to the new people that come into this hobby is you spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars buying these real nice engines that are out today that run fantastically. But please never think you're buying an investment. You're just buying a toy, is what you're buying.
Exactly.
There. And I've seen a couple videos on YouTube where the guys start talking about, well, I bought this because it's going to be a collector's model. No, the manufacturers, they build enough of them. There's not going to be much collector's value in most of that stuff.
Yeah, down there at the hobby store that I go to and hang out on Wednesday nights. Yeah, people come in there and they're bringing their stuff in. They go, now this thing's worth a lot of money. I want you to, give me a price on it, and then I want you to buy it from me. And Mike's sitting there going, oh man.
If you want to talk about pre-war Lionel, now you're talking about a different situation.
Yes.
But not
especially.
Go ahead.
Yeah, especially all if you got the box and the paperwork with it.
Yeah, I had a brother I was in charge. He's 11 years older than me. He had an estate, and he was a Lionel collector. 3,000 pieces, and half of those were pre-war, and about half of those had the original boxes to them.
Wow.
I got a hold of a company in Indiana that sold it all for me at auction. On a retail basis, there was about $350,000 worth of Lionel in his collection on a retail basis. Everything got sold at auction, and I received 4 checks, and the total of the 4 checks was $124,000 out of $350,000 worth of product at retail. So, and that was a great sale. We made out very well on that there, but in HO, 10, 15, 20%, that's the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just would like people to understand that, so that they just don't keep spending these thousands. And the other problem, we all on this panel tonight see this all the time. They buy equipment that they love and they like, and I totally understand that. But then you look at the size layout they've got, and you go, "Well, my gosh, how are you going to run that on that layout?" There. I had my layout I had when I moved out to Colorado here. It was 24 by 24, and I did about 1985 with it. When I moved into town and I went to a much smaller room, I sold everything and went to 1955 so that I could run all 4-axle and 40-foot boxcars. I was willing to change my era to build an operating layout the way I wanted it to operate. That's a hard sell too. You get, people give you a certain amount of space and then they want to run 89-foot, trailer track cars on it. It's really tough.
Well, before we go any further, I want to remind everybody we have the giveaway page open at www.youtubemodelbuilders.com. I'll bring the form back up and show everybody real quickly here.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com and click right here in YouTube Model Builders Live, and then down here But the big red arrow is live show giveaway entry form. Go put your information in there, and the password is Signal, all lowercase, SIGNAL. And we'll be running for a little bit longer while we're still, answering some questions and talking with our panelists. And then probably about 11 o'clock, we'll shut things down and pick our winner. So.
Hey, Barry, not sure if you'll have time to do this, but do you want to show some parts of the website so for those who are not familiar with the website can what's there?
Yeah, that's actually a good idea, JD. We can probably do that before we end up tonight. So,
Yeah.
we do have a couple of questions here, Johnny. Here's one from Taki, for Bill. It says, I'm considering dividing the layout into blocks. And how many blocks do you go with, if any at all? In my opinion, this would easily point out shorts or any other issues that may occur. I mean, that sounds more like he's talking about electrically as far as power management, not so much operations.
Yeah. Is that for me?
Yeah, I think he was kind of pointing towards you, Bill.
Okay, that's fine. I operate on multiple different layouts. A lot of them are multi-level. And what we tend to do is block it by yards and levels there. So the main yard would have its own block area. And when I say the main yard, that would take up the switching leads and anything that would where a yard master would be in control of the yard. On my personal layout, I've got 4 levels. My layout's 4 levels. Right now, I'm operating it with 1 block. I've wired it so that I can go with multiple blocks if I want to. Hopefully, I've wired it well enough that I'm not going to have a big problem with that. And my operators that I operate with are pretty experienced operators. And we normally, on each other's layouts, don't have much problem. But depending on how big the layout is, I'm a firm believer in blocks. Saves a lot of headaches. So you don't. What you'll hear if you ever go to an operating session is you'll hear who ran the switch, because all of a sudden everybody's train is stopped if it's all in 1 block. So
that's what happens to us in our club layout too. So even though we're 2 engine point to point, we're considering splitting into 2 power districts just for that purpose, so that if I jam a switch at one end, I don't cut the other guy at the other end off.
That's right. That's right.
Can I add to that?
What's that?
Can I add to that?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Miles.
What I try to do is take a look at the railroad, and I'm going to divide it maybe almost the same as what Bill starts off with. First of all, I think you have to have separate blocks within the yard. If you have a really big yard, as some people do with these 3,000 and 4,000 square foot railroads, you may have to divide, especially if it's a double-ended yard, and put east end of the yard and west end of the yard on different blocks, because my consideration is how many engines can be in a particular area or block of your railroad at one time. If you're running a 5-amp system with sound and lights in the passenger cars, you only want to have about 3 engines at a time running. So depending on how many engines you're going to have in a particular area, once you leave that yard, I definitely would block the yard separately. But once you go out on the main line, if you've got enough main line that you can have 6 trains out there, you better divide the main line, because you got too much power pulling in that particular block. It's more a matter of power and how many engines you have in a particular area at one time. And you try and look at a possibility, and that goes back to Bill's operations. How is that going to operate, and how many trains am I going to put in a particular area at one time? And divide those areas up then so that we have enough power for everybody. And definitely divide it up so that when Fred shorts in the yard, he doesn't shut everybody on the entire railroad down.
Exactly, Miles. I mean, that's the reason we have to look at it for our layout, because that happens to us all the time. And the only other reason to block a railroad would be for, on the main line anyway, for signaling purposes, for block detection, or anywhere you want to detect it. But there, you manage that along with your blocking for power, like Miles said. So there's the 2 main reasons. For operations, there's no reason to block your railroad unless you have, like Miles said, I need to run 5 engines in this area. How many amps of power do I need? Well, I got 4 more engines over here. Well, now that has to be either I put a huge DCC system in and risk melting track with a short, or else I break it into electrical blocks. And 4 engines over there, 5 engines over here, and then we have much less of a problem with it that way.
Well, that becomes really important too with all the sound locomotives that are being sold today too, because you shut down a layout and there's a half a dozen sound locomotives on there. That can be real interesting starting it all back up.
Oh yeah, well you do is you get the current inrush on the sound engine starting up.
Exactly right. Now, it's probably more important today than it was, 5 or 10 years ago.
Barry, I think we'll catch one more quick question. We got one from Jim in Michigan there.
Yep. Yeah,
as for Miles and Bill, he's talked about this in the Hangouts, but I'm going to let Bill and Miles give their answer on this.
So Bill and Miles, this month's Model Railroader magazine touts on its cover, build this great 4x6 foot HO layout. Really? Do either of you think a person could really be happy with such a small benchwork?
Miles, you start. You build them.
Thanks,
I'll tell you what, but I'll say something real quick. I think really the intention there, 4x6, that would be more like for people possibly living in an apartment, students or somebody that's not going to be in a location for a long time. That's my opinion. Go ahead, Miles.
Well, I haven't. I looked at the cover today. Fran and I were actually out doing some Christmas shopping, and I pulled the magazine up and looked at the cover. But I don't subscribe, so I haven't seen the plan. And maybe Bill has. He can talk about the actual plan itself. But my comment is, it depends totally on the individual. I mean, we had a lot of clients that we had to build what we call party railroads for. And to me, a party railroad is one that's a loop. And you take a little break from your cocktail party and you come up and you say, oh, look at the great railroad I've got. And you turn on the trains and they go around a few times and everybody goes, oh, yeah, Bill, that's really cool. And they all go back to drinking. It's what the client wants from a railroad. Bill and I would rather work with people who want to build a railroad that's more museum quality and more operations oriented, but that's not everybody that's out there in the model railroad world. So it may be a perfectly fine railroad for a person who wants that particular track plan and that particular look in a railroad, or again, size, as Johnny said.
Yeah, it could be just a good starting point too, wouldn't you think?
That's right. Usually their plans are expandable, so you never know.
I should probably take all the blame for that question because I think most of you guys know what Jim is tearing down and that he's now building a new layout that I designed for him. Well, all of a sudden, he's kind of gotten into all of this now.
Yeah.
I talked to him a year ago, and he says, no, I'm going to be fine with what I got. Well, here we are a year later, and guess what? We're going to have about twice what he had before.
Rub it.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Rub it in, Bill.
I know. Jim's been a great guy to work with because he's new to the hobby, and I really like working with people like that because I've never been a teacher in my life, but this was one area where I do like to kind of teach people some things. And Jim has been real great about asking questions and stuff like that. And I think he's going to have a lot of fun with this new layout.
Yeah, he swore all of us to secrecy because he was kind of looking at maybe putting a little bit of staging going down the hallway.
Yeah, that's okay. I always tell people, I say to them, I said, if you ever build one of my plans exactly the way I designed it, I really screwed up. I really did. Well, that's the biggest, everybody thinks they got to do it exactly the way. No, I'm giving you some ideas. This is a possibility. Run with it. Do what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I think right now I'm going to take a little time because Bill wanted to say thank you to everybody in the team and everybody that's helped, this year in the 2015 that have been on the YouTube Model Builders team. I'd like to say thank you to Barry and Big Bill both for kind of taking over when Mike was unable to continue while he was moving from one country to another. And y'all did a great job of picking up the live show, keeping it going. And
thank you, John.
Also want to say thank you to Dude for continuing the hangouts. He assembled a really good team there. Chino, Troy, Barry, and Mike D doing the technical part. Y'all been doing a fine job, and thank you for what you've done for the 2015, and looking forward to 2016. JD, what can we say? Your magazine speaks a lot there. You've done a great job. Your team has done a great job too. Blaine, Jack, Harry, and Harry's wife. All y'all have done a great job. Bill says make sure that you pat yourselves on the back. If he was there, he would do it himself. Yeah. So, and hopefully I didn't leave nobody out, did I?
No, I would like to thank you too, Johnny and Dude and JD, for all the hard work you guys have put into this community. I mean, we've really vastly expanded beyond just the tenets of the live show that Mike came up with the idea with.
Yes.
Coming up this springtime will be 2 years since Mike started this.
Wow.
And it was last September. It was a year ago for me and Bill working with it. So this September will be 2 years with me and Bill running things with you guys, and hopefully by then Mike's back in the fold and helping out a little bit or being involved in some way. But I'd like to thank all of you guys personally too. We've been wonderful friends, and we've made a great community here, and we've brought in great guys like my friend Miles and my friend Bill here that really boost the team and add all kinds of different interesting things to do. And Dude and the guys like Gino and Troy and Chris Healy and all those other guys, Andy Crawford, really helped make the Hangouts a wonderful thing for everybody. So I'd like to thank everybody.
Can I say something real quick, Barry?
What's that, Bill?
Without this YouTube Model Builder show, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I kind of started this just on a whim to see if there was a need for it. I thought there was. And you talk about timing being very good. I think it certainly has helped me out, but I hopefully it's helped the YouTube community out too a lot. I'm trying to give back. It isn't all about making the almighty dollar. I'm trying to give back, and I think it all came together really well here for a lot of us.
I think so too, Bill. I mean, you
appreciate
do a fantastic job on all your track plans. Everybody loves them. They rave about your work, and you've definitely brought a wonderful piece of the team here. And I can say that Miles has presented a lot of great shows with us, brought us a lot of interesting topics. Even he's done great things for the community, and he's even got me and Mike now as part of the Model Railroad University instructor crew coming up in Amherst. So it's going to be a fun year for all of us.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm exactly the opposite, because I came on to try and make money, and I have failed miserably.
Miles, I can't consider anything you've done here a failure, my friend. You've done so much for this community, and people love seeing you on here, and you've had some wonderful presentations and shows. So I look forward to a lot more from you.
Well, I don't want to get too sappy on this thing, but I always say that I would never have been known by anybody if it had not been for the Model Railroad community and everybody out there that's watching and has read my articles for the last 4 decades. Too long to talk about. But at any rate, I really appreciate everybody who's, allowed me to have a name that maybe is known by a few people. And I just want to give back to model railroading and hopefully make this hobby last a little bit longer when everybody's predicting doom and gloom. If we can just get some younger people in and interested in doing model railroading, I'll be extremely happy. And I don't need to make a penny out of it. I just want to make sure this hobby goes on a little bit beyond myself and maybe some of us who are watching.
Well, that was Mike's vision there, was to provide a free service to help the younger people get in, better understand what they're doing, help them perfect their techniques, and their processes. And we do appreciate you and Bill coming in. We'd like to try and get a few more coming in. We've got rock stars that do mile railroading that, we'd like to try and get one or two of those. Some actors that are actually active milers too, that, be nice to be able to get them to come in, maybe on a live show and just talk a little bit about it. We promise not to ask.
You got a race car driver, Sam Posey, out there too.
Yeah, because we promise not to ask for autographs. Yeah, even though Bill tries selling his, but
speak for yourself. I
will read something here that Bill actually sent me an outline of how he planned to do the show tonight, and I'm trying to stick to his outline here, but I'm going to read off part of this. I'm not a good actor, so I'll read it as myself and not as Bill. I'm sure he'll be going, thank you. A Southerner trying to impress a Northerner, impersonate a Northerner.
And a New Yorker, no less.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys for your involvement in this endeavor of love and a passion for the hobby. I always love a little bit over the top because you know how Bill is.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill definitely wanted to make sure everybody got a big thank you for their involvement in this, and to everyone that's coming in, meaning Biles, Bill here, and hopefully whoever else we could get to come in and help us out in 2016. Well, how are we doing on the sign-ups there, Barry?
Well, I think we're topped out. We have about 18 now since steady for the last couple minutes, so whenever you're ready to pull the trigger, my friend.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, I got one more item here. I want to say thank you very much to the viewers, because definitely without y'all, like Bill would say, we'll be speaking into space. Yeah. The only thing we ask is that you go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com and let us know what it is you want to see. What kind of content do you want? And so that we can try and get it out here to you. I mean, we do as much as we can, but we also need to hear from the viewers, because this community is everybody. It's not the ones that you see here in Hangouts, live show, or on the e-magazine. It belongs to everyone, and we'd like to hear from as many as possible on what you would like to have for topics. Just to name off a few, and it will be a very few, excuse me, because the list is long, of viewers that we have during the live show, Tuesday night presentations, and the Thursday night. Let's see, Jennifer Constantino. Hope you're feeling well, and thank you for being a viewer. Ron writes, he's in Australia. Excuse me. I'm not trying to be like Bill and get all choked up here, but people like Jim in Michigan, Dwight Chrisman, Mitch Russell, David Barnes, Hawks H.O., Ray Bobell, and some fellow named Two Toady.
Mm-hmm.
He tends to get in here, slip in here on us from time to time. Taki Haywood, Al Marr, just name a few of our viewers. There's an awful lot out there, and we do appreciate you coming in and watching us. And we hope that we can continue to bring you topics and presenters that you'll be interested in seeing and happy to see and be able to talk to. Because, I mean, we're trying to make it easier for you to be able to talk to people like Miles and Bill, track planner here, where otherwise it may be hard for you to get a hold of. All right, Barry. I guess we'll go ahead and do the giveaways before I choke myself to death here.
All right, let's pick the winners here. Okay. Okay. Let's bring up my little note list of giveaways here. Okay. So our first giveaway is from Precision Design Company. It's our set of HO or N-scale joint bars. And giveaway 1 goes to John Revelt. I'd like to congratulate John. And then our second giveaway is from our great friend Bob Lacey at LongShadowModelTrees.com. His 10-pack of pine or deciduous tree armatures. And giveaway number 2 goes to John Knowles. And Dave's Decals, custom-made decals and stock decals. So the third giveaway, they are going to Joe Geraci. The fourth giveaway is our Highways and Byways road striping kit from our good friend John Howard. And giveaway number 4 goes to Fred Cordini. There's a name I have not seen in here before. And our last one, the ever-popular Central Valley Model Works 150-foot truss bridge goes to our good friend Taki Hayward. Congratulate all the winners tonight. And personally, I would like to thank every one of our viewers, like Johnny said, for all the support and everything all year long. Bless you, Miles.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank all the panelists, all of our guests throughout the year, and Dude and his team, and Johnny for putting on such great hangouts every week, and my friend Mike for working on the tech show with me, and we'll all have lots more to do in the coming year, and not forget JD and the wonderful team on the EMAG. So as a parting thing here,
Mitch Russell. You want to throw Mitch Russell up there real quick?
Oh, okay, hang on. Where's he at? Ah. Now, here we go. This is one of the reasons we're doing this. If it wasn't for this show, I would have gotten out of the hobby. You all keep me interested in wanting to learn more. Well, Mitch, Merry Christmas, my friend.
And a Happy New Year.
And a Happy New Year. I'm happy. I'm glad that we've reached out and kept you in this hobby. And that's all we could ask, is that people, learn from what we do and what we present and enjoy this hobby and enjoy it with themselves, with their families, and especially this time of year.
In other words, like my dad used to say, I'm going to change it up just a little bit. Do what Miles and Bill, the track planner there, tell you to do. Don't listen to me. But, yes, I want to say thank you to everyone for a good 2015. Oh, by the way, Barry.
Yes, sir.
You know you got a typo on the splash page.
I do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The next show, January 16th, not 15, 2016.
I gotta really do that like a dum-dum.
Well, it's getting to the end of the year. We all make that mistake. I do it a lot. But I personally do want to say thank you to everybody, all the viewers, everybody that's been on the panels throughout the year. I want to say thank you to all y'all. Really appreciate it. I like talking to each and every one of you. I've had fun. I do enjoy doing the hangouts, Thursday night hangouts, and the regular personal hangouts that we have in between shows. And mentioning that, Jim in Michigan has started after show hangouts. So if any of y'all on the panel want to come join in, you can. And the viewers, you'll find the link over in the YouTube Mile Railroaders community page. Link is posted there. So come on in and join us. And Thank you again.
Well, before we head off, I want to do a quick show here.
All right.
Hey, Johnny, just as Barry brings that up, I do want to mention thank you to all the subscribers of the eMag and all the people who've written the articles for the eMag, including Bill here, who writes a column. And, you know, without your submissions and your writing, the magazine wouldn't exist. Without the readers in the community, the magazine wouldn't exist. So we're very happy to produce something for you. And I do want to thank all the readers out there and the people in the community to support us.
Well, here what I
Yes.
have is the YouTubeModelBuilders.com homepage for everybody. Each of these menus at the top here list all the resources for the different operations we put together. Here's our YouTube Model Builders Live that you were watching tonight. We have the YouTube Model Builders Hangout presentations here with our event schedule. We have everything that you want to know about the YouTube Model Builders eMag, including where to download it, how to submit an article, and how to subscribe, like we mentioned earlier. And then here was information on our Big Bill contest, which will eventually will be replaced at some point with the merit certification program that Johnny mentioned earlier. So stay tuned for that. Once we iron out the details, that will be put up here. So everybody, thank you very much. It's been a wonderful show. I'd like to thank Bill and Miles and Dude, JD, and Johnny for everything. And we want to wish all the viewers and everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will see you all again in January.
And to
Thank
all,
you,
a
Barry.
good night and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Everybody.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.